this gathering. We're off to see Reverend Tutu share with us his philosophy of Ubuntu and hear wonderful performances from children, from musicians. There are 1,000 people in this hall.
Thank you for coming to support us this evening in the Tutu Foundation UK Conversations for Change. At the Foundation, our vision is a world in which the lives of individuals and communities in or at risk of conflict are transformed through Ubuntu. Ubuntu is the philosophy which emphasizes our common humanity. We cannot be proper people unless we connect with and depend upon each other. And the Foundation works in areas which are likely to be those where people, many of them young, have already faced a life characterized by poor housing, high unemployment levels, poor health, low educational attainment and poverty. We want to harness the tremendous power and energy that young people have with the knowledge and the wisdom of adults through dialogue and participation. And we want to bridge any gaps in understanding within and between our communities and the individuals in them. Of course, we don't expect to turn things around overnight. We can work to spark the flame of wider understanding by bringing together people of all ages and backgrounds to find a voice and to use it, to share their feelings about their community and themselves, and to articulate their needs and desires. We call this work Conversations for Change, and I hope very much through the activities here on stage this evening, you will see the many forms that it can take, and that you will leave after the show with an understanding of how it all works. And hopefully you will be inspired by it, and you will be further inspired to give it your personal support in our work by donating either your time or money. The blueprint for this work is inspired, and it was inspired, by our patrons, the Emeritus Archbishop Desmond Tutu and his wife, Mrs. Leah Tutu. And it is a great privilege for all of us tonight that the Archbishop and his daughter, the Reverend Mpo Tutu, have come from many, many miles away to be with us and will be participating later in the action. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a most enjoyable evening.
I'd like to welcome Archbishop Desmond Tutu and also Reverend Tutu to Croydon. I'm Chief Executive of Croydon BME Forum, the local partner of the Tutu Foundation in Croydon. And our BME Forum, we have a belief, which is that no child should be left behind. So we work with a range of organizations, voluntary organizations, who work with children and with their families. And tonight I'll be introducing a performance put together by two of our member organizations, the Croydon Eastern Arts and Croydon Supplementary School. These two organizations have been in the borough for a very long time, indeed decades in fact. Croydon Supplementary Education has been here for more than 30 years. Both of those organizations are actually providing supplementary school services and other support services for families, children, and young people. The piece you're going to see tonight is called The Sun Shines On. And The Sun Shines On is a game that's actually played as part of the work of the Tutu Foundation in the UK on their specific project called Conversations for Change. And I can really say that the children here, the sun has actually really shone on them. They've come together from two organizations to put this piece together, and they've worked together, showing respect to one another as part of our work in terms of building bridges within and across communities. So I hope the sun shines on them tonight. Just show them a round of applause.
Teacher, I've heard your many words. What must I do to inherit eternal life?
You must love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and all your mind. To do this in your life, you must love your neighbor and all God's people, as you would have them love you. There is no greater commandment than this.
Who is my neighbor? Those who live next to me in my street, or those I do not know?
Everyone. All people are your neighbor, from those you know to those living in distant places you may never meet. All people are your neighbor.
What must I do for those I do not know?
Let me tell you a story about how to be a good neighbor. One day, a man was traveling all the way from Jerusalem to Jericho when robbers set upon him. They beat him. They stole his money and his possessions. They stripped him of his clothing. And they left him for dead. As it happened, walking along that same road, there came a priest. Now the priest saw the man laying there. But as there was no one else around him, he simply passed him by on the other side of the road. Sometime later, along that same road, there came a Levite, a worker from the temple, born a traditional protector of the tabernacle. Now he too saw the man laying there, bleeding and in pain, and he too passed him by on the other side. neither stopped to help the poor man. Now, sometime later along that very same road, there came a Samaritan, a stranger, not from these parts. Now he too saw the man. And instantly he felt pity for him, and he went to his aid, this unknown stranger. He called to his servant, and he poured wine and oil on his wounds. He bandaged him, helped him to his feet, and he took him to a nearby inn. And there he paid the innkeeper 2 silver coins and said, "Please, please, take good care of this man I find lying in the road, badly injured. And when I return this way again, I will repay you any extra expenses you incur in restoring him to health." So tell me, which of these 3 men was a good neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of robbers?
Those who showed him mercy.
The ones who showed mercy. Now go and do likewise to your neighbors. Show them love, show them mercy, help them, even strangers and those unseen. For, as you know, the Jews see the Samaritans as inferior, foreigners, unclean. But it was a Samaritan who crossed that boundary and showed love and compassion to whoever needed it. If we treat others as we would have them treat us, this is how you will love the Lord your God. And the world will become a wonderful, peaceful place for everyone to live in.